Rambong says, how much should I charge for 5 minutes of FPV footage? That's an impossible question to answer. It's an impossible question to answer. There's not enough information there to answer it. There's way too. Let's generalize that question. How would you price a request for FPV footage? So, like, 5 minutes of FPV footage. First of all, who wants it, and what are they going to do with it? Tom Cruise. Like, I'll tell you a story. This does not involve Tom Cruise. He was just the first celebrity I could think of. Should I name them? Yeah, I could name him. So this little thing that Rotor Riot did with Kai Cenat, I got pitched this. I don't know whether they went to Rotor Riot first or me first. I'm not going to say I don't know who went first. They obviously did it. I didn't. Hold on. The beauty is that because I didn't do it, I'm not under an NDA. Ha! I can say whatever I want. But I'm going to be selective about what I say and share just out of respect for his team. They went to me and they said, hey, we have a stream coming up. Kai Cenat's going to do a 24-hour live stream. We think it'd be really cool if we had some drone content in there. This guy reached out. He said, I'm a fan. I'm a drone pilot. I love your content. He seemed sincere. He seemed like he actually was an FPV guy and not just like saying that to blow smoke. And he was like, I would love to have you on. I think it would be great. He said, it's going to be 2 days. We would pay your travel. And I said, well, I'll show you what I said. I said, I can't do this. I can't fit it on screen. Can I move it? Here we go. Hang on. Let's see if I can fit it on screen. I said the bottom line. They didn't offer any money for the day for me to come. They were just like, you come, you show up, you do it. We'll pay your travel. I said the bottom line for me is I'm a working professional with a full schedule and a family. I don't work for exposure. Every time in the past I've collaborated with a big creator outside the FPV niche, it's gotten me a temporary bump in views, but very little actual long-term benefit. FPV is a super technical field. It's expensive as hell. It's not accessible to most people. On top of that, and this was the big one, I have a general idea of how much money Kai Cenat pulls in and what the budget for this project must be. They rented like a whole mansion for they rented a mansion. They I know how much Kai pulls in. I know how much money he's going to make off of this. I know y'all could afford the day rate for a top quality pilot if you wanted to. And I understand why you're asking people to do it for free, because most people, the value of the exposure is more than worth it. That's not the case for me or any of the pilots. They asked me to recommend other pilots. That's not the case for me or any of the pilots I'd send your way. And then because this was being filmed in L.A., and I know Tommy Tabahia is based in L.A., I said, if you want to hire a pro to make your segment a success, I put it out to Tommy Tabahia. He lives in L.A. He'd set his own day rate, but I think it's around $2,500 a day. I just made that number up because I want Tommy to make money. I don't know what Tommy's day rate is, but I thought that was a fair. I was like, yeah, there you go. That's how much you want. You want the best, you get the best. You pay for it. You want a professional, you get a professional. So when you ask me how much for 5 minutes of FPV footage, some of that is how hard is it going to be for me to get the footage for you? We haven't even touched on that. But some of it is who are you and how much are you going to, what are you going to use the footage for? You know? 13-year-old Timmy says, Mr. Bardwell, can I use your FPV footage for my YouTube channel for my high school project? Timmy doesn't have to pay me a dime, right? Kai Cenat wants me to come out, wants to use my footage. Kai Cenat can pay me because I know he's going to get paid. So that's part of what goes into it for me. The other side of it is, how much did you have to spend in terms of money and time and risk to get that footage. Footage of me flying around in my backyard that I already have, that I wasn't going to do anything with anyway. You want that? I don't know. I'd probably charge a nominal amount just to not set a precedent of just like I'm not worth anything, but I wouldn't charge very much. Footage that I have to risk, take my time and risk my equipment, like I could crash or I could get into a car accident on the way to the shoot, or I'm at the shoot and I could fall off a ladder or fall off, I don't know what, right? Now that number starts going up. And there's no way to just answer the question, how much is 5 minutes of FPV footage worth? But those are some of the things that factor into it. Oh.
A lot of people confused about who Cenat is.
Well, that's the other reason I didn't.
Why people are confused, and yeah.
Cenat is wildly popular. He is wildly popular. But he is wildly popular because I would do it for exposure if I thought there was value in the exposure. Like, I'm not above working for exposure. There has to be value for the exposure. He is wildly popular, but if you watch any of his content and you ask yourself, is his average viewer going to sit and watch Joshua Bardwell drone? Let's talk about drones, guys. I'm Joshua Bardwell. You gotta learn something today. And there aren't going to be any smash cuts or sound effects. His average viewer, I wonder what the average age and income of his average viewer is. I might not be able to afford to get into FPV. So like and that doesn't mean they're bad people. That doesn't mean I don't want them watching my content. But when they ask me the question of, am I going to take 2 to 3 days of my time to go and work for you for free? Is there expected value coming back the other way from me? And 1 million of my viewers will see you. Yeah, they'll see me and they'll never think of me again. So no, there's no value there. Kai is 100% cooler than me. Absolutely. That's why his audience doesn't want to watch my content, and there's no value in me going on his channel and getting exposure. Anyway, let's do Super Chats. If I had a product to sell, then I could get exposure for the product.
Yeah, create a pump and dump crypto coin, advertise it on the stream, and then... Yeah.
I guarantee you what would happen would be that I would see a small bump in views. I would see a small bump in subscribers. It would slowly trickle out. It would not equate to anything near reasonable compensation for, say, a day of travel and a full day of work. Like a long day of work, probably. Now, Rotor Riot did it, and I believe it was worth it for them. I don't know if they got paid or not. I assume that they got the same offer I did, which was no pay. But Rotor Riot has a store and a brand and a product to sell. And if they get their logo and their website on that video, people will go and they will spend money there. And that probably was worth it for them. But just the nature of who I am and what I do, there's not a lot of value in exposure because I have nothing to sell except myself. It was a perfect chance to promote the JB Build Kit. Was missed. Disagree. Hard disagree, Race FPV. Again, who is the average Cenat viewer? And who is the average FPV pilot? The average FPV pilot is a 30 to 50-year-old man with a lot of disposable income. I know there are outliers, but that's who the average is. The average Cenat viewer, if I look at his content, I'm guessing it's a 13 to 25-year-old man with much less attention span and disposable income, I think. Go ahead, Bunty. You had something to say.
Yeah, the thing you're going to get sales out of there is something that kids or young adults watching the stream that instantly can buy and want, right?
You got it.
And that thing is like a tiny whoop kit with goggles and a flight and a cheap radio that you watch your favorite streamer flying around and go, "This is crazy! This is crazy!" You know.
And I went to Tommy. And I told Tommy that I was gonna. I checked with him before I pitched his name. I told Tommy that I was gonna I had this opportunity. I was like, "Do you want it?" And he's like, "Nah." He was like, "If you come out, I'll hang out with you." Like, well, thank you. That's kind of you. And I said, Tommy, could cause we had I don't remember what the lead time was, but It was maybe a month, 6 weeks of lead time. I said, "Can you put together some kind of oh my god like kit that we could use on the show and promote and just sell to Kaison's view?" It was like, "Nah, not in that time frame. Sorry." So